Hello, Tim. Here's the steering gearbox you sent me. 650240. Was it an 8? No, it's a 1, I guess. 650240-1, I think. No, maybe it's another 0. All right, I gotta get my glasses on. See if I can see that thing. All right. Oh, it's 850240-8. So 1958 steering gearbox. All right. So let's take this guy apart. Again, 850240-8. Let's take this guy apart and see what we got inside here. Let's see what you sent me. I've already pre-loosened some of the items so we wouldn't have to struggle watching me take things apart. Unscrew the spring, the cap on top of the spring. Remember, as I mentioned to you, all this does is holds tension on a spring. There's no adjustment for a steering gearbox from the outside. All this does is holds a spring and a cap and a plunger, and that holds pressure on this shaft down here, which I call the sector shaft, which is this shaft that sticks out here. So if you don't have that spring on there, this thing's going to lift up just like that. It'll lift up. So that's all that spring and that external slotted cap does is holds pressure on that shaft. So if you adjust it beyond factory specifications, all you're doing is making the feel of the steering gearbox that much harder. You think you're tightening things up and making it adjusting the clearance out of the inside of the box, but you're not. All you're doing is putting extra pressure on the mechanism in here and making it feel like it's been adjusted. All right, so we've got a box that clearly has not had any oil in it forever and ever and ever, and currently does not have any oil in it. So let's drive this up the shaft. See if we can get it out of there. That thing is seriously stuck inside there. All right. Looks like there is just about 2 drops of oil coming out the bottom. All right, so what we're going to do once we get this cleaned up, we're going to measure this with a micrometer. This is going to be, it has to have the same dimensions as the same critical dimensions as a crankshaft. That's how close a tolerance there is. The tolerance between this shaft and the bushings in here is like 2/10,000ths of an inch, which is seriously tight. In fact, that's tighter clearance than on a crankshaft, which is around 2/1000ths. And so we got a factor of moving the decimal point one place over, and that's the tolerance that they expect on a steering gearbox. All right, so let's see what else we got here. Now, obviously, we've got a lot of rust. I mean, this thing just hardly even wants to move. Serious amount of rust. So let's see if we can take this apart. Kind of hard to do with the camera in the way. All right, let's get over here. You can hear the rust grinding in there. All right. Mighty nasty. This thing was really cranked down hard, which is not supposed to be. All you're doing is putting some preload on the tapered bearings on each end of this steering shaft. That's all you're doing. You're not holding the Brooklyn Bridge together. So it did not need to be cranked down super tight. Okay, plenty of rust there. Now let's see if this thing's going to come out. Okay, I got that out. In addition to the installation tool, the seal came out. There's a small seal in here. That's what keeps it from leaking when it's in the down position, installed down. Let's see, here's one of the bearings, obviously full of rust. Just cleaned up and see how bad condition it is in. Pardon me, I'm getting over bronchitis. Oh my goodness sakes, look at all the sludge in here. I'm not going to put my finger in it. I know, but sludge and rust. It's not supposed to be grease in there or sludge. It's supposed to be gear oil. All right, so may not be able to tell exactly because of the filth in here, but we'll see what happens when we put this in and see if we can get any movement or if it wiggles a little bit in terms of looseness. Yep, won't work because we got the seal on the bottom. seal out of there. Seal should just pop out. You should be able to put these in almost with your fingers. Okay. I don't know why this is so difficult. Let's get another tool. Son of a gun. Gotta get this moved over and get some swing on it. This is impossible. This is not how it's supposed to go. Son of a gun. Okay. Finally. I don't know who glued that in there, but it's not terribly necessary, but that's okay. Yeah, let's get this cleaned up inside here. So we can check clearances. Ordinarily, I will have my dial indicator here to check clearances, but we'll do it do a rough eyeball. This. We don't want to be able to feel any movement in this thing, or even hear any movement especially. Oh yeah. Let's see if I can zoom in on that, or get the camera closer. Okay, so. Yep, you can feel the movement. Maybe you can hear it. Maybe you can hear that. Yep, worn out. So, I will get these journals measured, and if I need to, over to my crankshaft grinder so we can get them uniform, then get new bushings in there, and then we will use the world famous. I'm going to take you over there right now. Get you over, and we're going to use the world famous, very rare, extremely rare, Tobin ARP rod and piston boring machine, which is accurate to 1/10,000th of an inch. Here's our measuring device, and you notice right here, accurate. It works in 0.0001 increments, 10,000ths of an inch increments. We found this and restored it, and this is the only thing that's capable of accurately machining the steering gearbox bushings and bringing them back to factory standard specifications, which in this instance is a clearance of 2/10,000ths of an inch. So, well, we'll start working on your steering gearbox, but it's going to take a while because I've got to get stuff to my crankshaft grinder, and we'll take it from there. Thanks for sending it, Tim.